Hello everyone. Today we will understand about tunneling. Tunneling is a special case of potential well problem which we used to call particle in a box. How it is a special case? Hope you people remember in the last class what we understand. We have a potential well. A well having an inside potential 0 and infinite potential at the barrier. However, in tunneling, this barrier is not infinite. So what we were assuming earlier, because potential well problem gave us a solution of a Schrodinger wave equation, what we assumed in potential well problem, because particle cannot penetrate through this barrier because of the infinite width of this barrier, so we are assuming wave function to be 0. So in case of tunneling, this wave function will not be 0. Rather, what we define in a probability density function as we understand in Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So that wave function and its conjugate, because it is existing here, so it has some existence there as well. So it means particle can exist beyond the barrier as well. So it means this tunneling principle is bound to the uncertainty behavior. So what it is? So it's a quantum mechanical tunneling of an electron through a barrier of finite height and thickness. Height is finite and thickness is also finite. You can see in this diagram, instead of showing it an infinite barrier, we are showing the barrier to be of very small thickness w, where this is the, say let us suppose this is x is equal to 0, this is x is equal to L. This is the potential barrier having the height v0 and barrier from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. Now instead of assuming this barrier to be infinite, we are assuming this barrier of width w. So this is the barrier width L plus w. Now what will happen? Electron will penetrate this barrier and reach to the other side. Now electron has some different behavior inside this particular barrier, which is not infinite. So what it is, if the barrier is not infinite, the boundary condition do not force xi, which is nothing but a wave function, to be 0 at the barrier, because electron can penetrate. So it means wave function as well as its conjugate both can exist. So instead we can use the condition that xi and its slope both are continuous at the boundary of the barrier. Hope you remember this was the postulate 1 of the Schrodinger wave equation. What was postulate 1? That the wave, we are assuming particle to be of wave nature, and that wave function xi as well as its derivative dxi along all the three directions, they are stable as well as continuous and finite. So xi must have a non-zero value within the barrier and also on the other side. So because xi exists on the right side of the barrier, therefore xi as well as its conjugate both exist beyond the barrier, which implies that there must be some probability of finding the particle beyond the barrier, which is of quite interest. So what is tunneling? So it's the mechanism by which a particle penetrates the barrier. Okay, so this is a barrier of height v0 and thickness w. Now what is this? This is representing psi square, psi having multiplication with its conjugate, so along the direction x. So if you can see the behavior of this wave function, this probability density function of this psi, it represents that the non-zero value beyond the barrier. Earlier we are not getting anything out of the barrier, now we are getting some wave function. So this psi square is not equal to 0 beyond the barrier. So this is beyond barrier. But what we observed, there is an exponential decrease inside the barrier. So this is here, that exponential decrease inside the barrier within the because of the tunneling. So this is bound to uncertainty principle. So the wave function amplitude for the particle is reduced by the barrier. This is what like because of the exponential decrease. So this tunneling is only of significant importance when the dimensions are very small. Okay, and it play a major role in the conduction of the solids. And about the application is one of the best application of this tunneling is RTD, resonant tunneling diode, which we will understand later on. So it operates on the principle of tunneling of the electrons through a potential well. So this is all about tunneling. Just go through it. If you have any doubt, drop a message. Thank you.